Nick's forecast. It's March 24th, 2022. And today I just want to talk about the state of the real estate industry in general. Real estate, some stuff. I've been reading all these different articles for the last couple months, and I think a lot of people are full of crap in a lot of areas. I don't care what really say about it, because since I was in the real estate business for 25 years, real estate mortgages and being an investor and still an investor and all the stuff that I've done. So, and did more mortgages than almost 99.9% of the business. So, kind of say what I want on that. And anybody else can say what they want too. But the real estate industry is divided essentially in two halves. You've got the franchises, which all belong to the National Association, have the independents. Well, let's talk about a little story about 2008, when I got wiped out with a bunch of other people I know in the real estate industry and mortgage industry. And essentially after 2008 and around 2009, things started to change. People started getting out of the franchises, and a lot of and I kind of wish I did this, got my associate broker's license, which I didn't get. I should have got it, but I almost did, but I didn't do it. Anyways, so a lot of people had their associates and went and got it. They left the franchise shops and they said, screw you. And they started doing their own independent real estate companies, which I thought was awesome. And a lot of people started doing it, or they started pulling their franchises and they did their own. And so in a lot of areas of the United States, it started to happen. And it's still happening now. So it's kind of divided up. And as far as a realtor, they don't have an accurate account in the matter of real estate agents, because you have all independent real estate companies that don't belong to realtors unless they have a broker or someone in their office just joins it just because they want to, and they want to pay $700 a year to do it. Because I know for a while, but not too much, because mostly I see in non-franchise shops, independents, which is way better, because I was 100% agent, and I keep saying this over. If you're a real estate agent, you need to go to 100% shop, go to an independent shop. Now, some exceptions, there are some franchise shops that are probably okay, but I would say it's so you don't have to pay in the National Association of Realtors or a lot of these other stupid fees. Mortgage brokers, a little bit different deal. Most mortgage brokers companies are less than, and it's just a completely different deal. There's going to be a split because of the amount of paperwork involved, and you have processors and stuff like that. You're going to account and come in and you do your own thing, but you need to keep it sort of away. But it's just being a mortgage broker and how it runs is completely different than a real estate. And so right now they're talking about Compass Real Estate. They keep saying they're the new great that EXP, same thing. EXP and Compass kind of run along the same lines. Their platforms I know are a little different, but I don't know how much tech you get involved in it. It doesn't mean anything, because real estate is still a person-to-person business. Yeah, you may have people over to look at pictures or film of a place, but you still don't know the ins and outs. I don't care if you buy a brand new place, you still may have problems with mold. If you live in Southern California, even in Northern California, you may get termites. Even with all the new cool stuff they've got out by, you still may have problems. And you may have electrical problem you don't know about. You may have this problem, and you may buy sight unseen. You may get an inspection, but all of a sudden you get it and you're operating. All of a sudden there's a mold problem you don't know about. It's going to cost you, $150,000 or $2 million fixed or whatever. I'm just being hypothetical. So you still need to know the area, they know the house, and you still need to look at the houses. Apartment buildings a little bit different. Buying just land with something on it, different deal, or just straight land, different deal. I'm just talking, most real estate agents are essentially just houses, generally, or duplexes, fourplexes, because they fall under residential yield. Majority of real estate agents don't do both, like I did, commercial, residential, and you only have a certain segment of the real estate agents that do commercial, and they don't do anything at residential. Most of them don't know anything about residential anyways. It's kind of how it is. So you have this big thing, and there was a big article in News yesterday about Compass, and I've seen some other stuff, and EXP, and blah, blah, blah. EXP runs on a cloud system, big deal. So what? That means they internet stuff when they converse. Compass the same way. So what? The technology, yeah, the platforms. Keller Williams is upgrading their platform into a whole new universe. Remax is doing it. Reality's doing it. And a lot of these big companies doing it. Now, Reality, let's talk about them for a minute. Reality is a Fortune 100 company, okay? That besides owning all these real estates I'm going to mention, they also own a bunch of hotels, and they also do timeshares. And I can't remember the timeshare company. Sorry, it's a $5 billion a year company, but I can't remember what it is. And then they own a bunch of title and escrow, and essentially they own a bunch of other stuff, title plants in a bunch of different parts of the U.S. And that's a real profitable. Title insurance is one big scam, but it's a profitable scam. It's legal and stuff, I know, but it's still I look at it as a scam. Anybody's been real estate in a while. For a while, you kind of figure that out. It's a big scam, but you need it. But anyways, it's profitable. And they in Reality is into a bunch of other stuff. Company's Reality is the stuff that they own. They own Better Homes and Gardens, which is an easy franchise to get. You can get it. They're not that expensive to get. It's pretty easy. Century 21. At least Century 21 changed their logo in the last year. One they had before was pretty lame. Coldwell Banker, Martin Chandler, a long time ago when he was in charge of it, he ran that company. He didn't run it into the ground like a lot of CEOs. He built the thing out, and he had some pretty good people too that he worked for. Martin Chandler, I mean, he died a long while ago, but he was he was way ahead of him in real estate. I mean, he started a long time ago, but I know he died 10, 12 years ago. Anyways, he was way ahead of time. He was a pretty interesting character. Cochran, yeah, Cochran Real Estate, Reality owns that. They bought that a few years back. Yes, yeah, I remember that, reading about all that. Anyways, the owner of that, you see on TV all the time. She's on that show on C. God, I can't remember it. Anyways, but I haven't seen it in a long time. ERA, ERA is big in the Southeast, in the Northeast, not some Midwest states, but they're not super big like they used to be. They've been around. Sotheby's, yeah, they bought Sotheby's International and Sotheby's, and Sotheby's great. You got them everywhere. Cartus, and then they own a bunch of other stuff. Okay, but Reality stock is selling today at $16.01. They should be selling at $175 a share. I mean, what the hell is wrong? I mean, yeah, I know they got a lot of debt, but that's pretty bad. No, I mean, in Reality, he's got a pretty good CEO and stuff like that, but still $16 a share. Give me a break. I mean, I wouldn't buy this share anyways. Who knows what's going to go up? Another bubble hits, they're going to be selling for $4 a share, $2 a share. So, anyways, but they're a Fortune 100 company. It's pretty bad. Remax, like a year and a half, year ago, was $75 a share. You know what, today? $27.95, right around in there. It's about $28 a share. Remax would be selling at $140 a share right now. I mean, and for a franchise shop, they're a better run franchise shop than everyone else out there of all the franchises. I don't really know what they are, because they have generally the agents have been there usually over 10 years or more. They generally have better people. They're more experienced. And most of the agents do residential and commercial. And Remax is generally a better run franchise than all the rest of the franchises out in the U.S. I mean, I'm just telling you how it is. And I don't know what stock price. I mean, they're based right outside of Denver, Littleton, but it's pretty bad. So anyway, they had an article talking about Compass and how great they were, and they were comparing it to car dealerships in the 70s and 80s, how the big changes are, and all these big changes. And because everyone's trying to go after the real estate agents' commission, because it's $100 billion a year in commission, everybody's trying to whack it out because they want to get rid of this 6% that's generally charged, but it serves a purpose because you need brokers that are going to bring people to that, sell it. Now, if you're in a hot market, it's a different deal, but that's not going to be the way it is. in the west, Seattle, all the way down into San Diego. It's just in the Northeast, the same thing. New York, New England states, whatever. Those days are coming to an end, and it's going to change everything. The problem is too is that a lot of these East Coast and West Coast elites, basically, they're not allowing people to build. I mean, like one area in Seattle, there were going to be 6. It wasn't going to be 10,000 homes. Now it's this area called outside of Kent, which is about, depending on traffic, it's realistic. It's like can be anywhere from 35 minutes to almost an hour to get there, maybe a little longer. And if you don't know the back roads of Seattle, you're screwed. That's sorry. And even in the back roads, it can take some time. And that's going out of downtown Seattle. And if you go Airport Way, shoot it up through Renton through the back 9, you can go that way. But generally, people go I-5 and 167. Anyways, you can see it on the map, and that takes forever sometimes because 167 is a big clogway because of designers in Renton. I don't know what they were smoking when they did it, but he built it pretty lame. And then you get 405, and you go around Kennydale, which is in Renton area. Then they try to say Kennydale's in Bellevue, which it's not. But you see the Seahawks complex. There are these giant curves there, and the process wasn't very thought out. And I'm just giving you Seattle. Portland's got the same problems going down I-5 in some of their 101s, but in some of the other areas, same thing when you go down California, get down to Sacramento, you have issues going all the way to the San Francisco, down into Santa Clara, LA. It's just a mess all the time. It's like in the Bay Area, they do 9 to 10 county traffic reports on KFRC because the areas are so screwed up. I mean, I know all these areas are at north problems. So in the Southeast, the Midwest, the Southwest, once you get, even it's not as bad. Dallas can get pretty bad during the day because of the way it's got all rounded out. Kansas City got all these circular, I don't know why they built it. They got all these circular highways. Anyways, what I was saying to you before, so guys, I got off the tangent here. And Compass. So Compass is a big company. They get 50,000 people, maybe more, 60,000, 100,000. They have all this great technology backed up by this big multi-billion-dollar investor, and they're trying to sell the technology in that. Who cares? Because you know what, at the end of the day, real estate is still a person-to-person business. So the mortgage industry, you have to go out and meet the people and do them. You're not going to do everything over the internet and phone, even though they want you to believe that. Then they try to sell that to the agents with their technology. It's all a bunch of crock because you got to meet the people. EXP too. They're all on the cloud systems. I don't care what it is. Independents, real estate agents, and independent real estate brokerage, rephrase that. They can get the same technology that the other ones have. They can build their own, and they do it. They can build their own mobile applications right off the bat. They can tie them into their internet site and their social media, and they can get companies to do it on the cheap and build it out. They can put everything on a cloud and do it. So you may have your own shop. You may have 10 people that work there. You may have 100. It's an independent shop. You may have 1,000, maybe 10,000. I don't know. But you're an independent. You don't belong to the National Association of Realtors. You do your own thing. And most of your agents are all 100%, except for maybe series that are 1 to 3 years, and they maybe have 80, 20, 90, 10 split. Hopefully they won't do that very long because it's bad. Maybe the first year, but even then I say you go to 100% shop, pay your monthly fee, and then whatever the fee is that they're going to take out of your check after you close a deal, which is just standard procedure. So because you want to keep all your money because you've earned your money. The house sold in an hour. I don't care if the house sold in 8 months, whatever, depending wherever, or a year, whatever. You did the work, you did the time, you got it, you negotiated, did your stuff. So real estate, you deserve to get paid. Whether you you do 7% under 200,000, 6% after that with the seller, you close the deal yourself, get both sides, or most of the time you close it or whatever. But what I'm saying to you is that Compass are trying to bring all these agents in and sell a pipe dream of the technology, this interaction, blah, 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 and all this other stuff. They want to take more of your commission, which I think is totally bogus. EXP is still, EXP's got a lot higher price than the thing is, EXP, they're still doing an 80-20 split. There's EX where I'm at. They're all over the U.S. And, they're based in Bellingham, Washington, which is outside of Seattle, I-5 north about, an hour and a half or so, hour and 45 minutes, depending on traffic, maybe two. But anyways, it's the same stuff. And they're on a cloud system, and everybody goes next stuff. Of course, that leaves open to a lot of stuff because there's nobody there really on site. Now, EXP is different because they will have brokers on site because they have, but there's a lot of people that just do their own individual tool because most agents do that anyways, and most agents are doing everything over the internet. But still, back to what I'm saying is that there's a big difference between the independents and the broker and the franchise brokerages, and they're pretty far between. And even though the franchisees can dump the franchises, they have to follow a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things that they're going to have to follow. It's kind of a pain for the brokerages. They have to get dumped into a lot of stuff. Independents, they don't have to do that. And also too, they can change the splits, and the franchises can. The franchises get weirded out about a lot of stuff because of the way that they're set up. Even though they pretty much can do what they want, they still get weirded out by the national office all the time about stupid idiot stuff. So independents are better, but as far as the technology goes, everyone has the same access to all the same technology. Like I was saying before, there was this prior video. There's this one company in Seattle, and basically they're a low commission brokerage. They have an iPad sitting in the house, blah, blah, blah. You go through, everything's based on that, blah, blah, great. So they went and filmed it, and they put it on, they take pictures, they put it on an iPad, they go put it on the internet. Everyone can do this. You can do it with a phone. There's a thing you can get attached, put your phone on there, go ahead, and you can film stuff. I know Joe Stump by referralinly.com had somebody show that. I know there's a thing of Tom Ferry show you can buy the thing to attach your phone with to do your filming if you want to do it, and it's like $120 or whatever. So and everyone's doing the same thing digitally. So I'm trying to figure out where it's in, and they're trying to sell this pipe to me about technology. But the thing is, everyone has access to the same marketing stuff pretty much, and there's nothing exceptional about it, because where are you going to get Google rating if you're also too on Microsoft or Yahoo? Where are you going to come up? Are you going to be near the top, the bottom? I mean, what are you going to do? Real estate, individual thing. And I'm shooting this out to everybody. This is for investors, sellers, and buyers, so you understand it. And this is for your real estate agents and mortgage brokers. When you sell real estate, an individual thing, like they have this big new thing of teams, which is really lame. Me personally, I mean, me and my cousin, we had a bunch of assistants working for us, building these teams and this and this and that. Well, the teams are basically belong to some real estate brokerage, and you might be providing some leads, but the thing is you're going to go 50-50 on that, hopefully. But then in addition to that, what about the referrals that come off those leads? Do they have to share that too? Or if they get their own buyer and seller, do they have to share that too? I'd say screw you, no. That Ryan Seahant or Serhant, whatever his name is, he's whatever Compass he works. I think it's Compass or EXP. He works in New York City or something else. But anyways, I remember a long time ago watching his show. There was a thing on the press about I was like 8 or 9 people got up and walked out of his office in the Keller Williams franchise because he was screwing them on the pay. And so, this team building thing, it's great. We build your own team with your own assistants. That's kind of the deal. And as far as if you're a real estate owner, brokerage owner, and this is a major problem, and I'm going to keep hammering on all the time of God, because the thing is that the real estate brokerages, the owners, I don't care if it's independent or you own a franchise or whatever, they don't do enough marketing anyways because they're always tight on the budget. And even the brokers that have money still don't do enough marketing. I'm talking go beyond the internet where they're not sending out mail once a month to multiple areas. Not sending out a newsletter once a month or every quarter. They should just do it once a quarter. Not doing certain types of internet marketing to get their name out there more. Not doing especially TV marketing, radio advertising, phone ring, and then those leads that do come in. And I'm being real basic because I can go into the marketing thing way. I can get way into it. And the thing is that they're not building that out to build it out, and so you have leads that can, and then you share those to all your agents, and so you can help build them out. So your goal is to get every agent in your office 2 to 4 leads a month. Then you split 50 with them, and then they get to keep those referrals and build it out. And that's how you build a company. But a lot of these people do it. Now, when I saw this thing Tom Ferry had, because Tom Ferry, I've met him a few times in the past. I've probably met him. So the first time I met him was in '95 with his brother, and they were doing their cold call 3-day seminar thing. I did that in '95. That was my 3rd month, $1,000. I guess it was worth it though. 3rd or 4th month when I was at this loser office that doesn't even exist anymore, run by a bunch of just brokers that were completely hired me. He got fired after the 1st month. There's some still agents that are still working in real estate now, and they work for different companies. They're still pretty scored away, and they're all multi-millionaires. So, but they've been doing a long time, average 50 to 100 deals a year. So they do pretty well. Their average price rate is probably $775, somewhere up in there. But anyways, the thing is, when a webinar and Tom Ferry, anyways, back to what I was saying before. So I've met Tom Ferry over the years. I've been in a bunch of seminars. I've met his sister who works for him. He's got one brother that's in San Diego. Does a lot of deals too. But he has his own company. He helps work with his dad, Mike, who's probably, he's still knocking it out. I saw a video he had the other day, and some of the other stuff. Now I'm kind of talking to the real estate agents and mortgage brokers in between, but investors, sellers, and buyers, so you kind of know where to go if you ever decide that you want to go into the real estate business. These are the ones you need to watch. But anyway, so Tom Ferry had his guest on a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks, a month ago, in California, in his office in Orange County, and I'm not sure what cities. I can't remember the cities in that. I can't remember the cities at in Orange County. Anyways, I'll probably remember later on. So anyways, so he had his guest. Now, this guest owned a RE/MAX in Savannah, Georgia. And I know Savannah, Georgia, before it starts that way, and there's the Hunter Army Airfield. First time I was there, I started out in 3rd Ranger Battalion at Fort Benning, but I've been to Hunter Army Airfield because we trained there. And so I know Savannah and this, that. So she has this RE/MAX office, this lady in Savannah, and she listened to her talk. She sounded like a pretty capable agent. She knows what's going on. So they were explaining, going through a bunch of stuff. They were talking about this team thing. But the thing is, I went site. So I saw, I think, 25, 27 agents, something like that. So these agents are independents, and it still wasn't clear. They're independent, or were they all working for her on this team? And it didn't really make any sense because I know the Savannah area and how far it goes out and stuff like that. So Georgia's a pretty good sized state, but as it still didn't make any sense. Or a team defines a team as far as that goes. So it didn't really make any sense. So for an agent, you need to have your own basically your own people. But back to what I'm saying to you is the brokerage is that the brokers, when they're sending leads out, if you had, let's say you had 6 assistants working for you, or 3 assistants or 1, because most real estate agents don't have any assistants. The average real estate agent only makes $43,000 a year. So all the stuff that comes out in these higher ranking agents that makes 7 figures plus or high 6 figures is pretty low number. So the thing is, if the agent owners, they say, rephrase that, the real estate brokerage owners were doing their job and they had money to really do the marketing like they should be, then the stuff goes out, and then what happens it goes out to you as agents. So let's say you got 3 leads in a month, and you had the assistants, you had somebody doing this, a couple buyers agents. Then what happens? That buyer agent works for you. So what happens is they go out and sell it, and then generally get a piece. But what happens, it would change under the what you got leads in. But what I'm saying to you is, kind of where does it go? How does it focus out when you get the leads in? And the thing is, most of these brokers just don't do that. The agents have to do their own leads and have to build their own sources because the owners don't do anything. Now, as you build your team out, making the money because you're in the 6 figures and you're trying to get into the figure league, it all changes. But still, if you're a cherry agent, where I'm going with this, you get help, and especially in the beginning, in the first years, it takes a lot of time. Thing is, if your brokerage helps you get some leads and build them out, you can do it. The problem is a lot of broker owners keep the leads to themselves, and they don't help a lot of the cherry agents. These agents need to get some leads too to help out. But the problem is a marketing problem. And now I'm going to take it back to the tech issue, because the tech, they're saying they're doing all the great stuff and they're getting all these leads and blah, 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 blah. And they're using tech, which is great. The thing is, how does that really pan out? Because leads that they look are just looky-loo leads, and they're not real super good leads. And so now you're going to have complaint that your agent's got these leads from blah, 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 and nobody's getting any leads because they're being hogged up basically through some system. Also, too, a lot of these new technologies that come out, a lot of them, they don't really have filtering systems, so you don't know what you're going to get. So a lot of times the leads, essentially the ones that are good, ones that are filtered, are only going to stay near the top, and they're not going to be filtered anyway. So then there's agents that get them, or the brokers, owners are going to get them. You see where I'm going with this? Where I'm going with this is that I don't care how much tech's involved, you still need to do other things to basically be consistent to help your agents, especially the ones in the bottom. And so they're not being scored away because they're not being trained. And also, too, gets back to the big tech stuff. You join one of these companies, one office in the state, and you live, let's say, 700 miles from that office, but there's nobody manning the office because it's a P.O. box. So when you have problems, and I've mentioned this before, a lot of EXP places, they have offices. They may have an office, but EXP has the same ones. And I know there's a bunch of other brokerage companies that are doing national stuff, all on the cloud, blah, blah, blah. The problem is a lot of times there's no one in their area that belongs to they're not talk to them. You can talk to them by phone or by internet, but the problem is you no one to talk to up close. And if you have a commercial deal or a residential deal, who are you going to go call? What are you going to do? What if you have problems that come up? Because you can get slammed in a lawsuit. I've been through the legal process a few times. But I know some people that have been through the legal charade, a few times themselves. And they have to be able to talk to somebody that's close, that understands the area that you live in and what's going on in your area, because this isn't always the case. And I've read story after story at the last 10 years about a lot of these national companies where they're essentially running all over, just running on the internet, and it's internet based essentially, but there's no one in the area, and no one understands the area, the politics of the area, the county. They might have some county laws that may be different that apply to a real estate transaction, and it can be an element of a state law, but you have to have a special disclosure form, and all of a sudden, oops, the company that's doing the cloud real estate doesn't have that form, and they you know what I'm saying? And so you have these issues that come up, and it happens they can't talk to anybody. So even with all their technology they say they have, sometimes real estate is a interpersonal business. You need to build people, and sometimes you may have to get face to face with somebody to help you go through the purchase and sale agreement, which is another problem because you have all these addendums and purchase and sale agreement and blah, 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 and all these other stuff that's attached to a real estate deal. And all of a sudden your real estate deal is on to 26 pages or 24 pages of all kinds of sale. It would say it has 5 or 6, plus you have basically your disclosure form about the house. And then all of a sudden you have all these addendums that need to be added. You have to write up a bunch of addendums. And if you need help doing that, where are you going to go? And so you live, the nearest office is 100 miles away. You can get on the phone, this and that, blah, blah, blah. But you need to say, oh, well, you can go ahead and you can go ahead and just send it over to me and I'll take a look at it. But you need to talk to somebody face to face. You can't do it because you're in a cloud real estate company. And how much? But the thing is, you still need to be able to talk to somebody. You might have to talk to somebody locally to help you out. And a lot of times these brokers don't know anything about the area and they don't know how things work because things work in different areas. Like right now in this part of Missouri, it's even a lot of parts of the state, whole states. And I've got, Jefferson City, 30 miles, Columbia is only an hour. At Springfield, which got a couple hundred in the surrounding areas, probably takes up to 500,000 plus. That's 2 hours away. And then, Louis is 2.5 hours. Kansas City is the same way. And those are good sized cities. So, but the thing is, where I'm at, they still do real estate like it was 1995. I mean, it's kind of a different deal. 96, 97. It's kind of weird when you see it write up the deals and stuff like that. And multiple listing service is kind of low drag because you look at the forms, it's kind of a joke. And holes in those forms and this and that. And so when I've gone basically to a franchise, to an independent technology, but you have no access to anybody. The brokers don't do any marketing. They don't do any training. And so you might be left out in the dust. Now, and also, too, there's the commission issue, which keeps coming up over and over again. And right now you got all these laws, these different states, started in Chicago, Illinois, which is next door to where I'm at. And basically they're still in legal federal court about commissions. And now you have all these other state countries that also filed on this real estate agents commissions. And, so you have all these problems, and a lot of times the brokers aren't going to deal with it and they're going to push it away. And the lawsuit thing you can't do it. But as an agent, you get to charge whatever you want. Essentially, you get to do that because you're an independent contractor. But of course, your managing broker or associate broker who's in charge, essentially it's a designated broker or broker owner, and may have a different say on that. But see, like in Seattle, Portland, the Bay Area, California in general, a lot of the franchise brokers will say you have to charge this, and that. And I've worked for a couple of franchises, not in independent shops my whole career. But they'd always charge this, and that. Well, what if I charge less? Then you have to go back out and get this changed. Well, they don't want to do that. And this and that, and you go through and you get in this big argument with the brokers. And the thing is, technically, they don't have the authority to tell you that because you're an independent contractor and you can charge you want. Well, you're under their brokers, doesn't matter. And what happens, there's lawsuits now in different parts of the country where agents are going after their brokers right now because that's what they tried to pull. There's some stuff going on in the Northeast, which I read earlier, talked about earlier in earlier broadcasts about it. So you have a lot of this crazy stuff going on in the real estate industry, and everyone's trying to. A lot of the franchise real estate companies are trying to use tech as kind of a way to inflate their numbers, but your stock price of their numbers is pretty bad. And so, I mean, EXP probably got the better stock price of the companies. At least last time I'll take a look right now. Yeah, so EXP stock right now is $129.44, $130. And right now that trumps a lot of the stuff going on right now in the real estate industry. And why I'm saying that is right now they're growing, but they still have they're basically giving access to realtors to buy stock and stuff, which is cool. There's gonna be a day down the road, they're gonna go Reality or a Remax, and their stock's gonna plummet 80%. And if this bubble bursts, which is gonna happen soon, that stock price is 130, they go way down because it's happened to Remax, it's happened to Reality. There's other real estate companies out there that are commercial that's happened to it before. You can go and check because it's all out there. It's public information. So anything I'm saying, you can check it out. But it's going to happen. They're going to get, before you know it, down the road, ESP stocks employment. They'll be selling at $20 a share, or $15 a share. And so it's just the weight of it of going on. And like I said, a lot of these companies are trying to get agents in because they quote unquote technology. But the problem is there's still these issues. Real estate is still a personable business. It's face to face. Mortgage broker, same thing. Insurance agents, and most sales jobs are. Now, a lot of sales jobs you can do on the phone. You can do it, and you don't have to do as much stuff. But even in real estate phone, you have people from overseas buying from nothing because they're trying to get a place. Great, but most of the time, most real estate agents or mortgage brokers are going to go talk to people personally. So if you're an investor watching this, you're going to talk to a real estate agent, on phone and text and email, but you're going to meet them in person. You're going to go look at the place in person. You're a buyer buying a property. You're going to meet with the real estate agent. Mortgage broker, you don't have to do as much. You don't need to really do that. But real estate agent, you need to, because you need to go out. You're a seller. Yeah, you're going to meet. You're going to talk to them about selling your house. You're going to meet them a few times and talk to them a few times before you list it. And so, like I said, it's still a personal business. I don't care how much technology they get in for whatever. Right now, the problems in the real estate industry, one, they're trying to use technology, godsend, and technology is just going to be technology. Things are going to change. Everything's more video happy than it's been before. Digital, the internet, multiple sites, and all this, the cloud just gives the internet sites more power to store more info. That's all the cloud is anyways. It's just a big storage farm. So, and they'll be able to add more stuff. And a lot of it's going to have to do with all digital stuff. Are going to be most of the add-ons. I don't care if you're doing the metaverse and your Facebook when they're talking about some new stuff they're coming out with. And you can look at the house and all that, but still it doesn't matter because you still need to physically go out and look at the house. Because if you go to the house and there's termites and you don't know about that, and let's say the seller didn't have to disclose it because they only owned the house 2 years and it wasn't disclosed in the last one, but the home still had termites and you had to get a special test done to termites because the structural inspector went through, determined that it could be possible. So you have to get an additional inspection on the house or, whatever. So these are the things that could happen. Let's say the house was only 3 years old. Okay, it happens. Or what if there was more? Or what if there was a bunch of birds somewhere in the property and they messed a bunch of stuff up? I'm just making this up. This is all hypothetical, but you see where I'm going. You need to be able to look at the property and check it out. Okay, lots of properties, residential, commercial. And so I always went and checked all the properties out. One, because I was in the industry anyways, but I do it anyways. I'm not going to buy scene. Not going to do it. So that's what you have to consider as far as that goes. So technology has limits. It has limits. You need to, so real estate's a touchy-feely business. You need to meet the people you're going to be doing business with, the brokers, the mortgage broker. You don't have to do it. You can do it all over the phone and snap. But real estate, as a real estate agent, you're going to have to do it. There's going to be other people unless you're buying all cash. And there's not that many people buying all cash. It's almost all every real estate deal, residential, commercial is all financed. And so you're going to have to go out. You're going to have to meet your agent, do stuff with the agent, go to the office, do this and that. Now the agent can send all the paperwork to you over the internet. You can DocuSign it, great, but you may not do it. Turn around and sign it. I could have DocuSigned stuff and did it, and I've done it, but I want to meet the people and basically go ahead and sign off. Now I had people that were out of town. They had a relative in there looking at it. I went out, the relative looked at us. I sent them everything. The real estate, when the relative verified everything for there. blah, 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 deal got done. But I'm saying to you is that's not always the case. And you still need to go out and meet the people. So technology with all this great real estate agent, all this technology and all this stuff, I don't care if you're at a one person or two person, three person shop, they can still have access to all the same stuff. You're out in the country areas, you got these places out here where there are only maybe less than 5 people. But you know what? In the big cities too, the West Coast, East Coast, Midwest, Southeast, Southwest, whatever you're in Seattle, Portland, Phoenix, Denver, where you're at, Tulsa, Little Rock, wherever. You may have less than 5 people in your shop in a big city, and a lot of stuff you do is you may be 60, 70, 80% of your business is referral. And all you do is send out mail, and you may go ahead and send out on a text list or you send something out, and you may do it right off your phone. And there's a whole marketing system for doing that. But you may just send out texts, and that's what you do. And I knew this one guy in Seattle out of the business a while ago, but when everything crashed, he did this for 27 years, and he owned a bunch of properties and everything else, and he was a scored away agent. But you know what? He never did any marketing. All his stuff was word of mouth, and he would do 50, 60, 70, okay, and he would still knock it out. He didn't do any marketing whatsoever, none. I mean, I've seen him knock out 10, 15 deals in a month. And he owned a bunch of properties, and he did a bunch of other stuff too. He started in the steel, but also he was basically a journey level carpenter, and he liked to do stuff. He liked to build stuff. He built a bunch of homes and sold them. He owned a bunch of property all over Seattle, way agent, and he got out in 2008. But he knew what he was doing, and so what I'm saying to you is that every person is their own person. Every real estate agent is their own person, Indian thing. So if you build your business out, you get to $1 million a year, 2 million, 3 million, 5 million, 10 million a year. You can get close to, and you may have 4, 5, 6 assistants. Great. Maybe you start your real estate brokerage. Good. Do it. But don't do it for you're going to do it. Don't have your own independent thing. If you want to join the National Realtors, do it on your own dime, but don't let your agents do it. If you just want to be in there so you can go to a convention or whatever or get some of their stuff, do it. But do it on your own. Don't force your agents to do it. Don't let them pay those extra fees. And you're trying to keep everything down anyways, but also getting side, because technology still has limits. Everything's going to tie into your real estate, your social media. You can all tie that in, all your leads and all the other stuff you do. But it still has limits. If you send email out, TV ads, radio ads, what kind of stuff are you doing? Are you doing any YouTube video ads that's specific to a specific area or zip code? I mean, I can start going stuff left and right. Are you doing 15-second ads, 30-second ads? Are you doing 60-second? Of course, I'd only do 15-second or 30-second ads. Are you spreading it all out besides YouTube on Vimeo TV? Do you have your own Silent Cloud TV? Part of that? I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going through it left and right. So what I'm saying to you is I'm going through all this different avenues for things you explore, because the real estate industry right now, there's a lot of people making a lot of money. Mike Ferry talked about it. There's more money this year than they ever had before, which I believe, because a lot of you have, like according to Zillow, which I checked somewhere else too, because Zillow they were pretty close, about 481 cities in the U.S. have now. So that means that the real estate commission is going to be pretty high when they sell it. So the realtor charging the seller 5 to 6% on the deal, so they'll walk out end of the equation. They'll make out pretty good, and that's what you want, because you're trying to make money, and that's the whole goal. So if you're doing 3%, $1,000 check, and most of that you're going to keep up. But if you had a franchise shop, rip you off. And so what I don't like is, I'm going to give you an example. And where I'm from, there was this real estate company under a different franchise now, bought out. and they have some real scumbag brokers that work at this company, which I won't mention. But a long, it was around 2003, somewhere in there. There was a gal that worked at this, and they had a decent office. They had 120 agents or whatever. She worked at this office, blah 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 blah. She had a state license, but she was administrative. She liked her job. Anyway, she gets this listing. She knew somebody, and or she got no, it was a buyer. Okay, it was a buyer. Okay, she was representing a buyer, so she got some experienced agents. So the house I think was sold for 4.8 million in the Seattle area, but high commission. The problem was that she got on it because she had another agent or two, but they ripped off her commission because they just helped doing the paperwork bogus. And I've seen this happen a bunch of times before for doing paperwork and blah 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 blah. But they still took a lot of her commission. And then I found out who the agents were because I heard this whole backstory. And I just agents. I wouldn't work with them. And so I just agents would say, Nick, hey, you got a buyer for this and this and this house. Oh, sorry, click. And I was just on the phone. Somebody just hang up the phone on. I knew that they ripped this chick off, which is totally bogus. And it was still is the point. And the problem is that the designated broker at the time didn't have any controls on his people and didn't step in. And I thought it was totally lame. A lot of agents of this company left after 2008, bogus company anyways. And one of the owners is still there and the other left. And I know because I almost got into some little entanglements with this company. I was going to sue the living crap out of both the owners. And I would have won in court because they backed down because I understand the laws pretty well because I've been through this legal stuff before. And like I said, I've been through it a few times, so I know the game real well. And if you haven't been through the legal stuff, a high performing agent like I was or mortgage broker, you haven't been. And if you're too on it, then I have to question it. And sometimes some of them are, but most of the time not. They're mostly high octane like I was or my cousin. They're going to have been through some legal stuff. I know some other agents are high octane. They went through some legal, and that's just the way it goes. It's just it's the nature of that's from anything. I mean, there was an article today about Tom Cruise getting into with Paramount Studios over Mission Impossible 7 and 8 and some other stuff and the whole legal wrangling and blah 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 blah. But he's a high performer, high octane. You know, he's over $4.5 billion franchise, or over almost $4 billion for the franchise. He's high octane. He's pretty close to it. So he's got that kind of leverage and pull because he makes money, turns into gold. So that's just the way it is. Thing in real estate and this and that. You watch real estate in New York or LA. Somebody had Miami on, or somebody's that are real estate agents. Somebody's that are real estate shows that have a high octane agents in high areas like New York and LA or Bay Area. But some of those agents aren't going to. But I've read stories about some of these agents getting some high octane stuff and sued. There was a guy, Hilton Hine. He's one of the top agents in the United States, and he was in some stuff a couple years ago. And he was high octane. The guy made millions and millions. He'd been in real estate. He's probably been in real estate close to 40 years, and he does business all over. LA, Orange County, San Diego, Ventura. He does a lot of business, Riverside County, and he makes a lot of money, and he just does it. He doesn't represent people, but he's gone through a lot of lawsuits. It's just part of the game. Out of the stuff, somebody had to pay out, some of his insurance covered. It goes. So the thing is, what I'm trying to say to you is the real estate industry is kind of going an up and down phase right now because they're coming out of the lower rates that they had. The rate the other day was 4.6, 4.8, which is still low. Anything under 6% low. So a lot of the stuff's going to start loosening up. The sales are going to slow down because this bubble is going to have to burst. Also, too, there's a bond market. If you're a real estate agent, mortgage broker, I don't care if you're an investor, you better keep track of the bond market because the bond market lost $2.7 trillion this last year, which is more than 2008, which lost $2 trillion. And that means if the bond market gets slammed, it's going to cut into funding big time. And as it cuts into funding big time, subprime, non-prime, non-conforming market goes out. And those aren't covered by government. Only the vanilla loans are, and the FHA are covered by government, but it's only 20% of the loan. So things are going to change here pretty soon. It's just the nature of the beast. You're going to have another 2008 plus on your hands. So if you're an investor, you're just sitting there waiting because you know it's going to pop and all this real estate is going to drop like a rock. And when it does, you can go in and clean up. You can buy cash. So, anyways, these are kind of these things for you guys to think about. So, anyways, you guys, any questions? Go to Nick.